Welcome to the Manuchehri podcast. Over the last 30 years, it has been my joy to assist humanity in aligning with their magnificence so they may heal, discover their natural gifts, and communicate with loved ones living on the other side. May you also experience delight while we dance in the powerful, intuitive world of energy. Let's get going. Welcome to where energy meets the divine. Before we go to the phone lines, I want to talk about more of this mental thinking where people disconnect from their emotional response system, don't really speak their truth, because you can't speak your truth if you're not aligned with your authentic emotions. And real emotions are calm. So the emotional response system, this is what I want you to start connecting to, is in the second layer of the auric field. So it's probably about 1.5 feet away from your physical form from a textbook perspective. And I'm underlining the phrase textbook perspective because the aura is meant to be 3 city blocks in every direction. So in front of you, above you, all sides of you, below you, behind you. But some people keep their auric field at the textbook size, which is 7 feet all the way around. And people who do that contract their energy, they feel scared, they don't trust, they don't recognize that if you expand your energy, you actually have more power, you have more knowledge, you have more energy to actually utilize your life. You can tell when people have expanded their energy. In the Northwest, it's when the weather's nice. Like Charles is back to having 2 walks a day because it's not in the 30s and there's no snow on the ground right now. Even in the pouring rain, we can still, get several miles in. So this addiction to the brain not only comes from being taught that logic is the most important concept to participate in order to be safe and to do things accurately, which is not true. Intuition is 1,000 times more accurate than logic. Just talk to people who are very successful in their life, whether it's business or relationships, their family life, their food, their body. They're using their intuition. Of course they are. When you have a healthy body, one of the things you're doing when you go grocery shopping is you're listening to your body. You're purchasing what your body likes. You're walking down aisles and you can feel, oh, does my body want grain-free or gluten-free? Does it want oats? Does it want nothing in that aisle for the day? You can feel it. And then you just automatically put it in your cart. You're like on a flow. The same thing is true when you go out for meals into restaurants or to a friend's house. You need to pay attention to what your body's attracted to, not ice cream and sugar, the body, more your mind and your sense of smell and your taste buds are going to go, I want the chocolate cake. Yeah, give me that. That would not be your intuition. I've never, ever heard a body happy to eat lots of sugar or alcohol. And there's actually new results, new research that's been done about 0 amount of alcohol is healthy for humans. And I think that's a good awareness to have. Of course, it's hepatic toxic, meaning it's toxic to the liver, so it's not good for us. So that when people drink, they just drink very casually, not often, under special occasions. And the same with sugar. It should be for special occasions, not a lot, very little, and healthy sugar. So not a lot of processed sugar, not the cakes you see in some of the grocery stores, not buying those for a birthday party is better. Yeah, don't buy those. So the other reason why people move into their logical mind and get addicted to thinking and have a hard time backing out of that addiction and kind of get confused about their intuition. They think they're even in intuitive energy when they're not. They are in logic. Is because when they were growing up, they didn't feel safe to feel their emotions. So a lot of people move into their logical mind out of fear. They don't know how to be in their emotional system, nurturing and loving themselves and creating a self-safety zone within their relationship with themselves. Even if they are adults and they don't spend time with their family of origin anymore, it's kind of a fail-safe pattern to go into your brain analyze and overthink and process versus just get out of the brain. Go sit in the lower half of your body and also find out what is uncomfortable, because knowing what's uncomfortable from an emotional perspective is also great information. It's great information when things aren't comfortable. And it's not scary. Remember, intuition isn't scary. It's not frightening. It's not, it doesn't scream at you. It's going to have a soft, calm voice or images. It's not going to do anything frightening, but you can tell when you're slightly uncomfortable. And if you have an awareness of that, then you can go ahead and speak your truth, be in your intuitive aspect, continue to let go of your mind. So for a lot of people, what will help them to be in the lower half of their body is to actually be self-nurturing to themselves, which of course, that's what that means, self-nurturing. Because if you go into your brain a lot, or if you had to when you were a kid, because it just wasn't safe, and it doesn't mean that your childhood had to be terrible. Some people just didn't learn to listen to children and had a lot of rules, or you could get in trouble or get time out, or I was terrible at grounding my children, even though at one point they all deserved to be grounded. I just couldn't do it. I would threaten it and I would kind of forget about it, so they could do whatever they wanted, pretty much within reason. What worked for my kids, and I think I've said this, they're all adults now, is I would just call the phone company, the cell phone company that all of us had accounts with, and I would just have their phones turned off. That's what really worked. I mean, they would cry, they would finally do what I said, they would be really good for a while, and if a similar difficult situation came up, I would call the cell phone company and have their phone turned off. It worked like a charm. So if you could start to be more loving and nurturing to yourself, especially when you think you've made a mistake or you've messed up or you did something wrong, because you're going to feel those emotions that you felt as a kid. And what happens when you're a child and you can't trust the adults in your life to be critical thinkers, which is the biggest problem we have in this country on every level, but certainly in the political arena. Many people have not been critically thinking at all. And that's why we have so many people shocked by what's happening in the United States government. Well, everyone around the world is kind of shocked, but for those people who have critical thinking, they're not at all surprised. They're not shocked at all. They fully expected this. So when you're a critical thinker, it means you feel free in your body to explore, and you don't have to go into your mind and only get focused on logic, because logic doesn't have the full picture. It doesn't have the full evidence, but critical thinking does. Like when our current president, during his first presidency and Roe versus Wade was overturned, I went, oh, that means everything is open for destruction in terms of how our political system works, because 70% of the American people actually approve of Roe versus Wade and wanted to have that experience. And remember, in the United States, the president does not win by winning the popular vote. I mean, we hope they get the popular vote and the electoral college. And when our current president won the first time, he did not win the popular vote. He lost by over 3 million votes. It's a lot of votes. It's a lot of votes. He did this last time win both. So critical thinking means that you also have an awareness to your emotional response system. So if you had a childhood where maybe your parents were busy and they didn't have time to listen or ask you important questions like, how was your day? And actually listen. Because kids have bad days. They may have a teacher that yelled at them. There could have been a friend at school that's having a bad day and they couldn't sit with them at lunch and they got scared. Like, they have all these emotions that may seem unimportant to the adult world, but they are important. It's necessary. In order to help us to think critically, we need to have people who can actually listen to what's going on with our lives and offer us comfort and maybe even some solutions. Like, if that was true for someone, like they had a child whose best friend was sick and wasn't at school and they had to sit by themselves. And if their parent was able to notice something with their child or asks every day, so how was your day? And means it. And the kid goes, oh, my friend Jessica was sick and I had to sit by myself and it was kind of uncomfortable, then the parent can say, oh, well, what other friends could you have at school? That's great. You have Jessica, but how about some other buddies? Whose table would have welcomed you at lunchtime? So that the child can start to move into critical thinking too and realize there's a huge, big picture in the world. And that when someone tells us something, we should actually listen to their words, to their language, to their behavior. It's very important. So I'm giving you this information so you can start to put some of the things we've talked about in the past on this podcast about how to get out of your head and to rest in the lower half of your body. I'm giving you more information, more critical information, so that you recognize that if it's been hard for you, if you have done your best to get out of your brain and it's just difficult to rest in the lower half of your body, that means anywhere from the hips to the toes, so that you can start to feel authentically what your guidance system is telling you, which the guidance system is genius. So if that's been you, then I would start being loving and kind to yourself as you do whatever exercises or you wiggle your toes to feel the lower half of your body. I would recommend that you start being kind, like, handsome, sweetheart, it's okay to rest in the lower half of the body. You're safe. You can be in your emotions. It's okay. Everything's wonderful. Everything's fine. I love you even more as you rest in the lower half of your body. Allow yourself to have internal dialogue that's loving and kind and compassionate to yourself, because your inner child and inner children, until they have been adored and cherished at their appropriate ages, they will try to take over adult behaviors or adult situations. And we don't want our inner children running the roost, because we don't need 5-year-olds making decisions in an adult body that is even a different year than when the 5-year-old was 5. So you want to self-nurture. And if you do this, you're going to be helping some of the younger parts of yourself become calm and relaxed. You can actually get into your emotional response system, which is lovely. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the phone lines and begin answering questions for individuals. And thank you everyone for leaving me a voice message. I truly appreciate it. I love it so much.
Hi, Marie. My name is Chris, and I'm wondering if you could do a body scan of me and tell me if you see what may be going on in my second chakra. I have kidney function issues, and I've had UTIs for many, many, many years. And it's something that I've just continually struggled with, despite trying to do everything that the doctors tell you.
Right.
And I'm wondering from an energetic perspective, what you might see, period. Also, I have some autoimmune issues like Raynaud's and dry mouth and severe dry eyes. So those are my questions. I wish I could get guidance from my own guides on this, but I'm not having luck. So whatever you could tell me would be greatly appreciated. Love, love, love your podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. So UTIs, kidney function, is all about fear. And that means you have a tremendous amount of fear in your body that you have not dealt with. It most likely comes from childhood. That means it's also a past life experience. I think people come across fear logically, like there's something that really happened. And you may not feel at all because you stay in your brain. You're common to the introduction that I gave today. You stay in your brain, and then a lot of people think that what their mind tells them is their emotional response system, but it's not. The brain can't feel. It's not an emotional organ. It's logical, which is great. It's like this computer that I'm looking into and the camera that I'm looking into. So I think what will happen, because I think this is going to resolve, is if you could just start talking to your kidneys and your adrenal glands and tell them that everything's okay, that you're going to take wonderful care of them, that they're safe. And I would start using the what if question. What if I'm safe? What if I'm safe? What if I'm safe? What if I'm safe? I would start to say that over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, forever. You can say it out loud or silently. Either way works. And also the dry eyes and the dry mouth are from that, because when people move into fight or flight, their body will shut off fluid. Like it's harder. You may not empty your bladder fully, which could be part of the UTI issue, because the body's trying to hold on to fluid. And because when people have to run, they could get dehydrated. They may not have time to go to the bathroom or to drink fluids. So that could affect your eyes and your mouth. And then the Raynaud is a fourth chakra issue. It's about not receiving. And people who have a lot of fear protect. They squish their auric field close to them. They don't allow themselves to be expansive or vulnerable. And that's where true power lies, is in an authentic aspect of vulnerability. It's normal. It's very normal. And so if you could continue to tell yourself that you're safe and allow yourself to expand your auric field. It's your auric field. It's only doing what you're telling it to. It's just most people are unconscious to the conversation they're having with their energy system. So I would also use a what if question. What if my auric field is beautifully expanded in every direction? Yeah, and you're going to have more energy. And that will help with the flow and your system. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Good luck.
Hello, Marie. My name is Laura. The reason for my call today is short and sweet, I hope. I have a wound on my left leg on the inside that doesn't seem to want to heal.
Right.
I have tried traditional medicine, going to the doctor. They don't know what has caused it.
Right.
I've had several treatments where they've put different modalities on it, some sort of a honey thing, which turned out I was allergic to, and it burned. And then they tried some sort of a mesh covering and said my skin would grow over that. My body sucked it in, and for 3 years now I've been cutting it out because my body has pushed it out. My body doesn't like artificial anything.
Right.
Anyway, so I've tried traditional, not real happy with their results. Holistic medicine, I've done homeopathy.
Not homeopathy, no.
Taking vitamins, using supplements. And no matter what I do, or what I've tried, or even praying about it, or asking my guides about it, I'm at my wit's end, and it interferes with my quality of life.
Of course.
It impairs my ability to walk any great distance, which I used to like to walk, and go dancing. Can't do either one of those. I can't stand for long periods of time. Well, even just a few minutes without leaning on something. So anything you could do to suggest or help me, I would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day, and I look forward to hearing your answer.
Thanks, Laura. And I'm so sorry about what's happened. That mesh netting, they should have never put that in there. I mean, I understand they were kind of at their wits' end. And even though you've taken supplements, I don't think homeopathy is going to help with this. But you need to see someone like a naturopath or a nurse practitioner who's holistic, because you need to have someone who can look at your labs and see where there's this lack of healing. And hopefully you don't smoke, because smoking constricts vascular flow and makes it difficult for healing to occur when we have a wound, especially in the lower half of the body. So the whole left-hand side of the body is about receptivity, taking energy into your physical form. So you definitely want to become receptive. When I was a nurse, we had wound care specialists, and I'm sure you must have had some of those. They would come into the hospital, or they would make home visits, and they used seaweed. And then they would teach the nursing staff how to pack certain wounds, because when you work in oncology, as I did, oncology patients get all kinds of infections because we're repressing their immune system severely with chemotherapy. So they get all kinds of infections, and all kinds of weird stuff happens to their body. In fact, on the floor, one of our regular doctors was an infectious control physician, and all the staff knew him, and he would visit many of the patients. And that's really, if you want to do something in modern medicine, then you need to see an infectious control physician. And if they're a really good one, then they have all those wound care specialists. They know them, they know the routines, they know what they utilize, like seaweed. Other than that, I think you need to see a naturopath. And I don't know what state you're in, because not all states in the US license naturopathic physicians, which is a shame. So there's that. But the one thing that's really going to help, and I'm so sorry you have to cut out that mesh netting. I mean, part of me is so grateful that you actually can, because people get that mesh netting placed into to hold up the bladder for incontinence. And then unfortunately, as you can imagine, that mesh netting can grow into other tissues, and it can be pretty painful, and you can't cut it out when it's in that area. It's unless it was very recently placed. Once it's been there for a while and things start to grow in it, which kind of pulls on internal organs, unfortunately, you can't take it out. So the good thing is, as yours is being exposed, you're cutting it out. I think you need to do near infrared and red light therapy. I think that will work wonderful. It's great at cellular healing. So it's all about healing. It's for skin, it's for tissues, it's for organs, it's for bones. So please consider a near infrared and red light device, one that is FDA approved, as long as we have the Food and Drug Administration working in the United States. So yes, and learn to receive. What if I'm worthy and deserving of everything? That could be a great what if question for you. And I've already sent you beautiful light to your leg. Yes, thank you.
Hi, Marie. This is Julie from Wisconsin. I'm calling about my granddaughter, Evelyn. She's
Great
going
name.
to be in the 2nd grade.
Mm-hmm.
She's a smart, imaginative, creative little girl with a very strong will and a mind of her own. She has a couple issues they have been dealing with. The first issue is getting her to sleep at night. It's hard for her to get to sleep and then sleep through the night. She's also dealing with urinary incontinence. They had her tonsils removed 6 months ago. The doctor said she had sleep apnea and she wasn't getting into deep sleep, thus wetting the bed. Well, she does sleep better since the tonsillectomy, but she still wets the bed and she still has a hard time getting to sleep. Concerning the incontinence, she has worked with an occupational therapist who said she has interoception, which is an inability to sense what is going on inside her body. She was given exercises to do and it seemed to help. When she's at home during the day, she will sense when she needs to urinate and go to the
Yeah,
bathroom. However, at school or at a friend's house, she isn't comfortable asking to use the bathroom.
sure.
They were told this was fear paralysis.
No.
Now she will begin seeing a physical therapist who is going to begin rhythmic reflex integration for incontinence. They were told that the spinal reflex was not integrated when she was a baby.
No.
Needless to say, this has been a frustrating, difficult situation. Her parents worry when she is invited to play at her friends' houses and don't want her to be embarrassed or uncomfortable during these situations. I think it's harder on her parents. She doesn't really seem to be concerned about it.
Right.
I would really appreciate any guidance you can give concerning these issues. Thanks for your help. Take care.
Thanks, Julie, for calling in. And I love your granddaughter's name, Evelyn. What a great name. I love the old names that keep creeping up. I just love them, Evelyn. It's a beautiful name. Yes, we got to get the parents to calm down, because their anxiety and their worry is actually affecting her and her bladder. I do not think the child had sleep apnea, and I'm sorry she has her tonsils removed. Unfortunately, this is not that uncommon that doctors will have tonsils removed. And tonsils are a part of your immune system. They're very important and very powerful. So yeah, I think she falls asleep and sleeps. When she does fall asleep, she sleeps very deeply. And so she can't awaken to go use the restroom. And I don't think this is that unusual. I know she's in 1st grade. She's still young. She's still a baby. I think if everybody would relax about it, I think she would overcome this extremely well. And maybe if the parents weren't so, then their child could relax and go night night. And what my daughter does, what my oldest daughter does, is when she was, potty training her kids, like she has a 4-year-old right now, they'll wake her up in the middle of the night to empty her bladder to avoid her peeing the bed. Not every night, but when my daughter uses her intuition, because kids sleep very deeply and they can't feel that deep movement that's going on in their body. And so it's hard for them to awaken to go to the bathroom. They're too sleepy. They're just way too sleepy. So I don't think anything is wrong in this situation. And unfortunately, I do not think that your daughter or son-in-law are going to listen to you. I don't. I really don't. And so because they're probably not going to listen to you, what you can do is change your energy about it, because you're trying to help and you're worried. I don't think anyone should be worried, and I don't think anyone should do any more surgery on this perfect child. Perfect child. I think what would be lovely is for you to start using what if questions. What if my granddaughter, and use granddaughter, don't use Evelyn, because when you use a what if question, if you get too personal in your energy, you may not be able to hold the new frequency. What if my granddaughter's body is happy? I want you to use something general like that, but don't use the word bladder or bedwetting. Don't use any of those things, because those are all trigger words at this point. What if my granddaughter's body is happy? And what if her parents are relaxed? I want you to start to use that, because when we're connected to a family, we can actually positively affect it by changing our own reactions, our own belief system, our own vibration. It's not 100% guarantee. I think your granddaughter's just tired of this topic and just wish her parents would get over it. And she's too young to do some of these exercises, I think. Not that she can't do it, but she's too young. They just need to relax about it. Some parent needs to get up at 4:00 in the morning and take her to the bathroom, if they feel like that's a good option for their daughter. Or just wait till she's a little bit older and she can have those felt experiences. And if the daughter, if the granddaughter doesn't care if she's at a birthday party and she wets her pants, great. I always keep an extra clothing for different age groups, because I have so many grandchildren upstairs. I just grab extra clothes when I'm at Costco for different age groups, and I keep them here in case someone wets their pants, so they pour water all over themselves, or maybe everyone's going to go swimming and we didn't know it, and now they all need a little swimsuit or something. So maybe she can just take an extra thing of clothes with her when she goes to her friends' homes. The parents should be lovely about it and kind, and your daughter and son-in-law need to relax, because they're making this too big of a deal, and this could be scarring to her as she matures. That's what I think. I think she's perfect, just exactly the way she is.
Hi, Marie. My name's Fran. I'm from the Gulf Coast. I've been meaning to reach out, but I've been nervous.
Oh.
I am blocked. I need guidance on a lot. I feel like a 40-year-old loser, almost 40-year-old loser, and I'm lost. I am, I guess, interested in what you do. I've been told before that I have something about me, or clairvoyant, intuitive, and I should pursue this kind of, stuff, but I don't have that support. I would be made fun of, eyes rolled, I'd be mocked, so and I don't know what I'm doing. And I've had experiences, good and bad, with other energy workers and mediums. The good were from two totally different females, and they both ended up dying.
Well, it's okay.
And the males that claimed to be, intuitive energy worker, whatever, they were creeps and manipulated me and to try to be with me or sleep with me, and it just put a bad taste in my mouth, and I pushed everything away. But drawn to it. I bought tarot cards. I'm trying to read up and I've listened to I have one of your audiobooks. So I'm trying. I just, again, I feel blocked, and I don't know if you can hear in my voice or see anything,
Right.
or what are my guides telling me to go towards. I need help. I need direction, and I don't know what I'm doing. So any and all advice would be appreciated, and thank you.
You're welcome, Frances. So you're not blocked. You do need to work on your self-worth. And I'm not kidding. You really need to work on your self-worth. Love yourself. Use positive avoidtive questions. Say kind things to yourself. Work on feeling that you're lovable and feeling you loving you. It's really important and critical. And then try not to care if other people laugh. If I was going to wait around until no one was going to question my career choice when I left nursing, I would have never moved forward. That's something that all successful people get clarity about. They love what they're doing so much, they don't care what other people think. It doesn't matter. And actually, when you gain that kind of confidence, people are a lot more respectful and value this thing that you have great energy about. They can sense it within you. They're attracted to it. So you need to work on your self-worth, because that's really what's attracting the negativity, even the energy workers who were inappropriate. It is a lack of self-worth. That's what attracts people who are not in alignment with us. And people die. Everybody dies at the perfect moment for them. It doesn't matter if they're an energy worker, a neuroscientist, an Uber driver, a grocery store clerk, a parent, a sibling. Everyone leaves Earth. This is a temporary reality. And chronological age doesn't mean anything to the universe and spirit guides, God, creation. It doesn't mean anything. So that's normal. That's very normal for us to leave when it's our time. So I think if you work on this, because I agree with you, I think you have gifts in this area. I do. I believe you have gifts in this area. So work on your self-worth. It's something that all of us have to work on all the time, forever. Because once we reach a certain plateau in our self-love and self-appreciation, if we want to grow further, we're going to have to grow that muscle. It's like a muscle, and it needs to be fed, it needs to be worked out. And it's critical for our evolutionary process. It allows us to have critical thinking, because when you love yourself, you expand your auric field. You're paying attention to your emotional response system. You're not reactive from the logical brain, regardless of what you've experienced in the past or currently. You become aligned. You move into the present moment. And that's where we want to make decisions and move forward, is from the awareness of the present moment. That's where the greatest amount of critical thinking is in the present moment. Yeah. So that's what I think. And I wish you great luck in all that you're doing. Oh, and instead of thinking you're a 40-year-old loser, no, you're just a late bloomer. Late bloomers typically fall into something that's extraordinarily rewarding for them, because they're waiting until they're clear that what they want to study or create a career in or have a phenomenal hobby in, that it's in alignment. So think of yourself as a late bloomer, and that's a compliment. It's not a bad thing at all.
Hi, Marie. This is Julie from Maine. I'm calling. Thank you so much for allowing these call-ins. I'm calling because I'm wondering. I've been working on meditation. I've been working on self-love, working on quieting my mind, the negative thinking. Been working on that for a while. And I'm wondering, I'm kind of feeling progress, but not a lot of progress in all the meditation and the clairs. So I'm wondering if you see if I have any of the clairs.
Yeah.
I believe I do have a few.
Yeah. There's only a few anyway.
I'm wondering what you see. And I'm wondering if I'm getting close to having more of a breakthrough with my psychic abilities and spirituality. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate your podcast, and I appreciate you very much. You've been life-changing, like everyone else says. We appreciate you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Julie. Yeah, you have the clairs. I mean, you're definitely more clairvoyant and clairaudient, so to have visions and hearing more than the clairsentient, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm highly clairvoyant. Um, so you have to make these joyful moments. This is what I heard as soon as I listened to your voice. You have to make these joyful moments last longer. You need to stretch out your energy, like work on this muscle of, oh, I'm happy. Okay, yay, this is joyful. Okay, I'm happy. This is joyful. This is good. This is great. And when you first start doing that, when you start expanding it, like holding that high vibrational energy, it feels like this, like you have to breathe really hard, just like if you ran up a flight of stairs. Like it's a little bit of a workout to expand your energy and to let it ride, because we're so comfortable in having our energy low. Like the majority of the people on Earth have a low vibrational energy system. It's true. And so not only do it like you are, which is great, but make it last longer, stretch it out. So let's say you're able to find joy for a couple moments, stretch it out to 5 minutes, like get your energy conditioned so that you can hold on to this frequency that is life-changing for longer periods of time until it becomes just a natural aspect. You don't like the drop in the frequency, and so you're going to make your body find a higher frequency quickly and then hold on to it for longer periods of time. That's going to make the biggest difference for you. So just exercising that high vibrational frequency energy, making it last longer, that's going to be a big difference for you. That's what I think.
Hi, Marie. My name is Samantha Reddick. I called you back in February. It's July 26th today.
Oh.
When I called you the first time, I just had questions, like a general question that I didn't really even know how to ask because I didn't have words for my question. I just told you that I had been a medically fragile infant who was born premature.
Oh, yeah.
That I had struggled with addiction as a teenager, and that my mom struggled with addiction throughout my childhood. And essentially, you basically reminded me that I've done a lot of work around my mother's addiction, and I have. And you also reminded me that I need to stop being so negative about my body. In addition to trying to be more positive, I'm also trying to learn how to rest in the lower half. I'm trying to follow my joy, and I'm asking more positive what-if questions throughout every day. And today, the reason I'm calling is because I wanted to ask you about my mother. And I know that you say a lot on the podcast that our family does not have to be genetically related to us. And I very much struggle with that because I think my mom was a narcissist.
Okay.
In addition to being an addict. I think the two tend to go hand in hand.
Agreed.
But it was hard. You know, I moved more than 20 times before I was in high school.
Yeah.
There were, 3 marriages in my life, and it was just a lot of chaos, really, growing up with her, and she was mean. She was so mean. But I love her is a thing, and I struggle because she died in February of 2019. And the last time I had seen her was October prior to that. And she I think, was high the majority of her visit. Like, at one point, I walked in on her having passed out on the floor of the spare bedroom in a fetal position with no shirt, no bra, and her head was inside of her suitcase.
Yeah.
Anyway, my ex-husband kicked her out of our home, and she had to leave early. And then we spoke for maybe a week or two after that, and then we stopped speaking. And then that day in February, when my mom died, I remember saying to my husband, I feel like I'm grieving someone who is still alive. And I don't know how to do that. And then an hour later, I got a phone call that my mom had died unexpectedly in her sleep. And Marie, I guess there's a couple, I don't know, tell me whatever your intuition tells you to tell me around that, what I've just said. And then I guess my question is this. One, I have two. One, does my mother know that I loved her?
Oh, yeah.
And that the reason I acted so much like I hated her is because I could not do anything other than infinitely love her, despite her meanness and all of her illness. And is she with me? I never, ever feel her.
Right.
I talk to her.
Right.
Yeah, is she here? And does she have anything she'd like to say? Anyway, that's all I've got. I really appreciate you so very much. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.
Thanks, Samantha. So the most interesting part of your question was the last part, but I'll address a little bit of more than that. The last part was, is she here? Is she around me? And it's not that your mom's not around you, but she has to change her vibration in order for you to feel her. So when someone crosses over, and if that person wasn't very nice or created problems for a loved one, because even if your mother wasn't an addict, I do agree, narcissism and addiction tend to go hand in hand with a lot of the disease process, right? Not all narcissists are addicts, but a lot of addicts are, they have to be selfish in order to get the drugs that they need or whatever it is that they're addicted to. They have to think of themselves all the time. And they're also very manipulative, which is a narcissistic quality, so that they can manipulate others to give them money or whatever they need to buy what they need for their addiction. So your mom knows that you loved her. You showed love towards her. You just also set boundaries, which is kind of what you have to do sometimes, especially when you're the child and the person who has the addiction is the parent. It doesn't matter even what the chronological ages are. It's very difficult because she's always going to feel superior to you, or she knows more. I'm the adult, I'm the parent, even when you're an adult. So setting boundaries is very wise. I think you gave your mother many, 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 many chances. And remember, every soul leaves Earth when it's their time. Even if it feels like, oh, this was a mistake, or we should have done this, or no, souls leave when it's their time. So there's never a mistake, ever, ever. But your mom, you can't feel her because she has to change her energy around you in order to have access to your energy. This is not uncommon, by the way. I've seen this many, 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 many times where someone has had a parent or a departed spouse or a sibling who was not great to the person who's still living. Because what creates the bond in families, whether you're genetically connected or not, and DNA means nothing to the other side because it's only something that we experience in the physical realm so that parts of our soul can get here and have a full lifetime, right? Whatever that means, whatever the full lifetime means in terms of time. Is that when you are true family, you unconditionally love each other, or you have significant moments of unconditionally loving something. That's not something your mother knew how to do. She's learning that. So there's literally a boundary near her. And remember, when you cross over, when anyone crosses over, you have full access to a lot of wisdom. You have great memories that come back to you. Understand how energy works. It's not complicated at all. It's like you become a Jungian psychologist overnight, practically, because you have so much consciousness. So your mother knows that she needs to be able to more unconditionally love you, but it's not a switch that she can flip. She's not as conscious as you, even though she's crossed over. But she is, like, she's standing on the edge of your auric field. She wants to come through, but she won't even let herself to do it because she knows the ramifications would not be great for her. Right? That's how it works on the other side. It works that way here too, but people don't see it that way. That the negativity comes to us. When we exude negativity, it comes back to us like a boomerang. Whatever level we exuded it, it comes back to us. So she's working on unconditional love and she likes it. She says she's learning from you. And whenever we have someone who has narcissistic tendencies in our life, like a parent, let's say, for an example, the child wants to learn to be more selfish. Like, they are too kind, they're too generous, they're too giving. They haven't set enough boundaries in their life. And I'm sure we all could say that about you, even though I've never met you before. And then the other person on the opposite side of that coin, the person who's more selfish, they're trying to learn to be selfless. And so on a soul's level, you're trying to teach each other this vibration, this frequency. And so your mother is fully aware of that now consciously. She stands on the edge of your auric field, like she's trying to cheat, but she can't. It's very weird. Nothing terrible would happen to her. I mean, it would create some sort of negativity down the road, potentially. That's what karma is, right? Karma is, you make a choice, there's a reaction. Yeah. So that's why you can't feel her, because she's learning. She's trying to learn something she refused to learn during this lifetime on earth for all kinds of reasons. She couldn't or wasn't able to or refused to. A lot of people will do work on the other side, or even if people take a long time leaving their bodies as they sleep more before they cross, which could be months before they leave with their bodies, they're doing inner work actually during their sleep time. They're gaining consciousness. So that's why you don't feel your mom. And I'm excited for you to identify other people in your life who give you that mom energy. Not controlling, that is not mom energy, but unconditionally adoring you and loving you and cherishing you. Thanks for your question. And thank you everybody for listening to this podcast. Please visit energyintuitive.com if you want to look at the classes that I have coming up. And I wish all of you many, many, many joyful blessings. Bye-bye for now.